Hey everyone, just before we begin, this video is a re-edited upload of a reaction from our previous and now deleted channel, so please check that you subscribe to this new channel here, enjoy the review, and we look forward to seeing you in some new material coming very soon. Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where today we're going to be checking out the new single that's just dropped from Aina The End, from bish. Now, if you've been following this channel for a while, or if not, I might as well tell you, obviously bish is a group who we've covered a lot on this channel, as well as Pedro, you know, big sort of fans of the fact that every time you press play on a bish song, like I say, you get something totally different. It's really experimental, it's interesting, it transcends the kind of J-poppy genre that maybe we'd usually tie that kind of thing in with. And Pedro for me was an interesting contrast, because although Pedro as a band has its variation, it seems to be very much, you know, what happens when like a uni in that case goes and does something that specifically is just like more one style. So I'm interested to see Aina going to do her own solo stuff. I mean, I think actually she might have some solo stuff before this, so apologies if I don't know. I'm still quite junior on checking out the side projects related to these guys. But this is the first time I've heard by her solo, so I have no idea if she has a particular sound that she goes for or not, but I'm interested to see how this contrasts from bish, who everything they do is pretty much contrast. Anyway, enough waffle, let's go and check this one out now, and we'll talk a little bit more afterwards. Alright, so this is the new song from Aina The End. Yeah, brilliant. Alright, yeah, like I say, a lot to unpack on this one. I really enjoyed that. Enjoyed that a lot more than I think I was worried that I might have done. You always worry when you hear side projects whether it's going to be, because obviously the artist in the best possible way should be trying to do something different from what they usually do with their group, which this, like with Aina D and Pedro, seems to be taking a very different approach from anything that we've heard her do in bish, which is so amazing considering how much bish already does. But with this, it didn't go in a direction I expected, which is good, and what it did really well, which is good. So yeah, first of all, I mean, as I alluded to during that, I'm willing to say that, okay, if we were picking holes in this, yes, there's nothing groundbreaking about this, we've all heard this style of pop music before, but what I liked about this is, as I said, there's a lot of life, there's a lot of detail to it. Her vocal performance matched the instrumentation in that it had that sort of detail, but it wasn't overly forceful. I mean, I know a lot of people, and nothing against this, it depends on the style of song you listen to, but a lot of people, when they talk about good vocals, they talk about power, and even a lot of the time I'm saying the same thing. But there is something about the delicacy, about being able to perform and sing just kind of like with the right amount of pressure. I mean, she was doing those little falsetto notes, and if you don't know what falsetto means, it's kind of when you're singing above your range and you can't sing anymore, so you go into a sort of big voice. And she was doing that for a couple of notes in the chorus. And usually to do that, you actually have to, even though it sounds like a less powerful sound, you have to actually push quite a lot of air through it. It's actually quite a lot of breathing required to get that right and pin that correctly. But she managed to do those notes and yet still keep them sounding delicate, which is quite a skill in of itself. So she was really sort of managing to, sorry, my example of falsetto just keeps ringing in my head because it was really bad. You know what I mean. Go back and listen if you don't. So she was, no, go back and listen to the song, not my example. She was doing a really great performance with vocals. The music obviously started with just the acoustic guitar, which was nice. Kind of sounded like, hey, we've all kind of heard that sort of Norah Jones style guitar playing before, and nothing wrong with that, but you're sort of thinking, well, okay, I want to see where this goes, because you can just sort of run a whole song like that and just do like a gentle acoustic lullaby, but it kind of seemed clear that they were going to go for something more. Just, you know, from the pedigree of who we're talking about here. So when it built up, I was glad that it didn't go for, like I say, just force. You know, more sounds came in, but they fleshed out what you were hearing. They fleshed out the arrangement. The drums were really nice. It was that kind of drum beat where you can really hear every detail. It reminds me a little bit, it was sort of the drums and guitar sounds remind me a little bit of the few songs I've heard by the solo singer Sayuri. She's very much sort of, you know, singer-songwriter and a guitarist, and, you know, a lot of the sounds of her recordings, whether you like the songs or not, have a real sort of delicacy where you can feel, you hear everything. They don't have that audio compression, which sort of, you know, makes everything sound louder and fuller in one way, but also kills all of the little leaps in sound, the little sparks where you can hear something biting. So it was nice that everything sounded very natural, very live, and yet well enough mixed that it also sounded like a good sort of well-produced recording, if you know what I mean. Like I said, I don't want to sort of blind with too many boring technical details, but I think if you understand how that's done, you kind of know what I mean. And we're still planning on this channel, we'll be doing some little lessons, sort of layman's lessons on how technical stuff works, how music's written, how music's recorded, all that kind of stuff, just so anyone who's interested in checking out more, you can. That is still coming up. I know we've been talking about that for a couple of months, but it's still coming. So in regards to this song, like I said, I just liked the whole way it was played and recorded. Yes, the overall writing of the song, it had a good chorus. It had a catchy chorus. Nothing wrong with the melody, but I know the overall style of the song is nothing that we haven't heard before, but it was just really well delivered. Definitely, if you're looking for a chilled out song, this would be one to go for. But one thing I wanted to mention was the video. Now, the video, interestingly, draws a comparison to something else that we saw recently that I was a bit more critical of, which was the Scandal video for their most recent song, which I think was called Tonight. I think it's the lead single off of their new, and admittedly Scandal's most recent album. I think I like it more than most people, but the video kind of didn't work for me, and it had a similar vibe to this. Now, this just to cover it, it's not the idea with this is obviously you're following her and she's kind of just sort of sleepwalking her way through scenes, knocking her head against the clothes pegs, which I thought was quite funny. The way she sort of drifts through the scene and sort of falls into the bed and stuff like that. And then it gets a little bit more choreographed when she's standing on top of the car. But as a general, it's kind of this whole thing about her just almost sleepwalking through the scene. Now, I really liked the way that worked. And I wanted to draw a comparison in case anyone's been watching this channel and probably will immediately be thinking of the similarity between this and that Scandal video, which I didn't so much like. Because in that video, it was this kind of whole thing where the lead singer, it was a much more lively song, and the lead singer was kind of doing this, I've just been drinking and now I'm like letting it all go, kind of crazy, over the top thing. I think the reason it felt different for me is that the performance in that Scandal video, do check it out if you haven't already. The song's really good. I really like the song, even though the video didn't take too much from me. We got a review on my channel, but you can check out the original video as well. The whole thing is that in that it felt almost like there was this real sense that she was acting up to sort of elevate the whole thing, to sort of throw her persona into the mix of the song. So it kind of felt like she was applying her persona to the song. Whereas with this video, it felt almost like just the whole way she was acting was kind of more like she was personifying the song. It's like what she was doing was not trying to put her persona on top of the song. She was just acting the way the song already is, and I felt that very much from that very first scene where it sort of fades into the room and you're just sort of following her and the camera's drifting around. Sort of nice wide angle lens, so you really get to see the movement of the camera and the rooms it's moving around. But it had that whole sort of dreamy sense, and the way everything was sort of swaying and moving and meandering around kind of matched the song in a really good way, and her performance was just kind of the same thing. She was performing in a way that really matched it. Like I said, when she got on top of the car at the end, it maybe got a little bit too choreographed, but I guess it's a crescendo. It's the ending of the video. So yeah, in a lot of ways, everything of that worked for me. I think that the video added something to the song. I think that the song itself was, like I say, not going to break any ground, but, not every song has to be groundbreaking. Sometimes you just want a really good example of something that we know works. And that to me was really good. As I say, apologies. I'm pretty sure that Aina The End's already got a fair few solo outings under her belt, whether they be in the form of albums, singles, or just, performances. I will be definitely checking out more on the basis of this to see how they either differ or remain similar to this. But certainly this for me was really interesting, and I think it does add another string to her bow. I do think it's a really good example of how to do that style of music, and I think she did a really good job of that. So definitely interested in hearing more. As always, though, thank you so much for tuning in. I want to hear your comments now because, of course, music is just subjective to opinion. As you always know, I keep on saying this. I've worked with music for my entire life. Not that you'd think it, lounging around in my lazy clothes today, not feeling so good. But I've worked with music my entire life, so I can give a sort of objective, subjective opinion, but what you think of music is just as important as what anyone tells you about music. So get in there, tell me what you think, and give me your reasons. It's always great. It's about the conversation. And just to reiterate, if you want to get further into the conversation, remember we've got our Discord and Reddit links in the description below. And if you just like helping YouTubers who aren't getting paid to do it, then there's also the Patreon as well. And massive thanks to all our Patreon people who are keeping all of this channel looking much better than it did last year. So anyway, for now, from Japan, well, not the clothes, maybe Maybe I should be buying some better clothes. For now, from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. You have a lovely day. Until I see you soon. Ciao, ciao. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel. Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.